Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's 10mm related. It's my League of Augsburg project. As I said to you guys, the armies, apart from adding to them and making them larger, I don't really have to do a great deal on that side of it now. It's mainly just put a bit more terrain together and I'm ready to go for a battle at last. You watch, I'm not going to enjoy it and sell the lot off. Hopefully not. We'll wait and see. On the bench, I've only got, I'm looking at it now, I think four little bits to show you. There was some things I learned along the way, some do's and don'ts. I don't do a lot of terrain. The most I ever do is jazzing up a base for a figure, really. So it's been, I've learned a few things that I should not do in the future. So if you'd like to join me at the bench, we'll have a quick run through and just show off these before I put them in the box. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, thanks for joining me at the bench, guys. This is the largest little bit of terrain I've done. So it's timber framed house. I would imagine on the British UK type model, but as I'm not widely travelled, there might be obviously other nations that build them like that as well, but it doesn't really matter. You could use it for anything really. I wanted to make it large enough that if I really need to put some stands of figures in, I could do in places, just to show it's fortified. But to be honest with you, it's only solo gaming and I know what's in and what's not, so I was okay to put my little market gardens here. Let's turn it round a bit. You can see that side as well. As we go in a bit, there's not really a great deal to see as such, but I put these little market gardens in, just put some tufts to try and make out there was some type of vegetation, a few little wildflower clumps. We've got the Chinese trees on. Let's get back out again so we see. So we've got the Chinese trees. Now, I've made a few cock-ups on this one, as I say, I'm not a terrain maker as such. I do whatever comes along really, but these are my standard hedges. Now these are the hedges you would have seen that I've made myself before. I use the dark green pan scourers cut into strips as a like a base. I glue them down and I then add the clump foliage on top. These are the Woodland Scenics Bushes range, so they're quite small, but they are small until you actually put them on a little piece of diorama, terrain type, whatever you want to call it, and then they get a bit invasive. This one isn't too bad, but wait till you see the next one. Now what I should have done was leave the building off, apart from maybe leave the footprint round, I suppose, and built it from the outside in, and instead I built it from the inside out. I had a trouble flocking with my flock box, only because I was dropping static grass in and managed to drop it just about everywhere. Now I came up with the idea of, well, I was hoovering up after doing a load of, I was making static grass bushes, things like that with my flock box, and it is messy, so the only time Gav ever gets the hoover out and actually cleans up after himself, and I thought, well, the hoover's here, if I just gently approach these hedges, I could just probably hoover all the static grass out of that. Well, really they are made for carpets and laminate, and they do a damn fine job at doing that. But they are a bit aggressive when you're actually trying to hoover up your terrain. And this is one of the bright green trees from the Chinese collection I got, and as you can see, I've added bits of clump just to try and dull it down a bit. I didn't really want to go, they're war games pieces, and I really didn't want to start painting over them and getting they're not dioramas at the end of the day. And there was a classic flump noise as this tree went flying up the hoover barrel, whatever you want to call it, and it was one of these, and I've obviously put a darker replacement in. So lesson learnt there, do not try and hoover your terrain, guys, because it doesn't work. So that's my that's my larger scale piece, and I'm glad that's over with. Here's the as I nearly knocked the camera over. Let's get it back in focus. This is the little more munchkin size house, again with tree. You just know these trees aren't going to survive first contact with the enemy. I think first roll of a dice will probably knock them over, but I just fancied making them look a bit different. Again, just a bit of hodgepodge of grass in there, and again grass went everywhere. No, there wasn't a second tree here. There was only ever one. But again, lovely buildings by Battle Scale. Still a tiny bit of fine sand around them, but I'm going to get. The Mark II version of cleaning these out will be put the compressor and the airbrush on them at some stage and blow them out. But that's my smaller building. But as you can see, the hedges are a bit overkill on this. It looks like one of these little old lady houses that's never had any hedges cut back in probably 50 years. But it is what it is, and it's a bit of terrain. So that's my little house. Again, all these are stuck down on. I'll do these two together because they're quite small. All these are stuck down again on the flooring tiles. Another one of these, what you could call Crofts. These were the original ones that Steve had done in like a whitewash, and render over the side. So before the stone ones came out. So I've got a couple of these. I've still got one more to do. Again, no, it's a nice little terrain feature to make my village up. So that's that one. This one was a like a D-Day type of knocked out building, but let's face it, I mean, you could use that for, so we can get in a bit closer. You can use that for anything really, any destroyed building. In the League of Augsburg period, they'd obviously rob a lot of they'd smash the houses down if they were near forts and places to, citadels, anything that needed a clean fire, you can get your fire in, and I forgot the word for it now, but anyway, clean your arcs anyway. So yeah, you can use this for any time period. I'm slowly going to get a collection of these together, I think, because at some stage I'd like to do a Great War 10mm period if Van Dyke ever do get the fingers out and get any more Great War figures completed. But I'd like to use these as a knocked out village for that. I've got the 10mm American Civil War. Well, can't see why that couldn't be used as a knocked out building for that as well. And as I say, as a robbed out, knocked down building for the League of Augsburg for the 1690s. So yeah, I'm very pleased with those. Just put again a little few dobs of grass in, a couple of little bushes. I didn't want to go overkill on them. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me on my little 10mm terrain video. I have got. I'm going to start work on the watermill. Finally, going to start work on the actual rivers. I've actually gone with flat franks in the end. I did try and get some off time cast, but it was such a rigmarole trying to fill in the blooming, one of these automated billing addresses and all this. It wasn't having it, and I just thought, well, you guys have lost a thing, and I went to fat franks. I don't like the bright blueness of the rivers, and I'll probably be painting those over. And that's nothing against their products. I actually like them. I've got the roads. It's a bit too bright for me, so I'll probably paint them a brown. But we'll check those out when they come anyway. So yeah, I've got a 10mm. In fact, I think I've shown this before, but we'll just quickly get this in as it's at the side. About to start painting this in the next couple of days. And there's this little water wheel bit that goes on the side of it as well. So it is a solid thing in the middle. I'll just have to paint that black. And I've got a couple. I've got one of these Crofts and a couple of other little bits and pieces. I can't very well base the bridge unless I base it two ends. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'll do with the bridge, but that's all painted up anyway. It just needs, if it was going to have a base, I just got to make the final decision on that. So yeah, so that's done. I'm about to order some larger scale woodland scenics clump foliage that they use for the trees, and I'm going to do a couple of 3 small woods and try and work out. I'm going to make some marshes. I might make the marshes out of these floor tiles. Now they will be thick. I might try and sand down the corners to merge them in a bit more so they don't stand so proud. I don't mind them on these buildings so much, but the marshes might look as if they're standing proud a bit too much. But again, you know, I want to make them look nice, but at the end of the day, they're not scale models. They are wargaming pieces, so you know they are there to be scattered around the table as terrain rather than, you know, something to go ooh-ah about, looking at close-ups and things. So guys, once again, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video and listening to me ramble on. I hope everything's going well with all your projects, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video. Cheers.